R-A-T. It's in the name.
Welcome into season 4 of the Good Old Fashioned Dislike Podcast, where dynasties never die. And hate is an extreme word, but just barely. On this podcast, we pick a football rivalry and we submit that rivalry to the panel dislike. They will come up with the reasons why we like one team, dislike one team, and vice versa. And by the end, we come to a conclusion of where football loyalties lie, mainly based on non-football things. But that's what's so much fun. But tonight, we're going to rehash some college football, talk a little bit about the panel of dislikes predictions, where we came through, who got the records right the most. We might talk a little bit about the college football playoff. We'll certainly talk about our picks, the panel of dislikes picks on who's going to win the SEC championship. And all around, generally, we're just going to talk about what you guys want to talk about. I know it's late on Tuesday night. I did want the college football brackets to come out so that we might could talk a little bit about that, see what you guys are feeling, who's getting gypped, who's getting cheated. I'm sure your team is getting cheated, and I'm sure that the refs were paid to make sure that your team would lose, although the refs get paid every game. They don't typically do it for free. So there you go. What did I think of the second quarter of Alabama versus Auburn? I like, obviously, the 17-0 run. The problem is I think the flea flicker really set us back. Sometimes you can kind of get too cute. I understand going for the jugular. I kind of like that thought. It's the same thing with our run game. I think a lot of times we don't go straight ahead good enough with Alabama. I think run straight ahead, get behind Daniel Hill, let him get downhill, get behind your shoulder pads. They did a little bit better job of that this time. But I think everybody knew Alabama got up 17-0 that Auburn was going to counterpunch. Had that been Bryant Denny, maybe not so much. But like the second quarter, if we can establish a run the ball on Georgia a little bit, I think we've got a chance to maybe win that one. But how did the SEC end for you guys? What'd you think? Got any thoughts on how that played out? Is it exactly how you thought it would go? Just looking at what you think. Our guys, our panel dislike was led by Ben Hayes. Ben Hayes actually led with, I think he got 4 of the records correct. He picked Bama correctly at 10-2. He picked Kentucky, Mississippi State, and the Tennessee Vols explicitly what they would get in the season. I got 3 correct. I got Alabama, I got Georgia, and the Tennessee Volunteers record correct. Blake, our resident Barner, got Kentucky correct. Josh got the Tennessee Vols correct, and Will got nothing. The fourth quarter, I liked to see the guts. I think the issue with Alabama, they've been playing with fire a little bit here recently, but they've also played better defenses over the last 6 weeks. I think they're banged up. I think there's a lot going into it. But it's kind of winning. Alabama's been in that mode for a while now. So I think Georgia rematch in the SEC championship game, just like I sneakily thought it would. I'll be honest with you. I was kind of hoping to play Texas A&M. I wanted to be the first most talented team they've played all year. I think Alabama, Texas A&M would have favored Alabama. They've been through the fire a little bit more. But as I thought, Texas was a little bit too much of a punch in the face. Texas had been through the fire a little bit. The Cowboys, hey, is that the Dallas Cowboys I'm assuming you're talking about? They're playing really well. If you're talking about Oklahoma State, not so much, but I imagine you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Great win. They looked really impressive there on Thanksgiving night. I love those uniforms, by the way, if we want to talk about uniforms. Those people don't care about that sort of thing. They looked really good. So Georgia predictions on this one in Atlanta on Saturday while we're all in Memphis running the St. Jude 5K. I think we've got one person who is picking the Crimson Tide, and as per usual and as per tradition, that's going to be Will Mahan, who said, and typically it doesn't matter for Will, he's going to pick Bama by 50. And that's exactly what he did. And, he's a positive guy. And then, of course, the rest of us picked Georgia, I think, in a close game. I think I picked them by 4. I think everybody else was within that range, picking Georgia to win. And so the official pick of the SEC championship of the panel dislike is going to be the Georgia Bulldogs, who will hang on to a top 4 seeding and a bye, and Alabama will go on the road. Now, if things hold serve as they did tonight, Alabama would be going on the road to Oklahoma. Yeah, Mississippi State, the Bulldogs had all kinds of opportunities to wreck some seasons this year. Certainly pulling for them, and I really pull for anybody that plays the Tennessee Volunteers. And so cheering for them to beat the Vols. They got that close. They should have beaten Texas. But yeah, Mississippi State's looking better and better. They're rotating on the Crimson Tide schedule next year as one of our 3 permanents. I'd say permanent, but 3 years. And of course, Mom, you're right. I got to make sure that lucky mug is packed to make the trip to Memphis with us to St. Jude, and I will be doing that. I did not drink out of the lucky mug Oklahoma Saturday, so I'll take that loss for the Crimson Tide. I'll take the blame for that. And so far, Ben leads the pack. He got 4 predictions right on the schedule. The official pick is Georgia winning the SEC championship game, although Will Mahan is the one dissenting vote who thinks Alabama is going to win. And to be honest, I can't blame anybody who thinks Alabama is going to win. I can't blame the fans, the Alabama fans thinking they're going to win. I can't blame the Georgia Bulldogs for even feeling that way until proven otherwise. But I do think Alabama, both teams are beat up. And I don't know how much it benefits them to play this game. And you certainly want to go in. You want to win. That's what you play to do. SEC championship means something. As we can tell, Alabama's still ranked 9. They bump up to being what conference. So you go in, you want to win the trophy. The funny and crazy thing is Alabama could go from, if they win, getting a bye, being one of the top 4 seeds and getting a bye, or losing, being on the road. As I said tonight, if the playoff rankings were done and there wasn't another one, Alabama would be traveling out to Norman, Oklahoma, which I hate rematches in these things, but it makes sense that, hey, go prove it. If you really are better than Oklahoma and you lost because of some turnovers, go out to Norman and prove that you're better, which I get. It was nice to see that they had jumped Notre Dame. I still don't really get the Notre Dame thing other than, of course, eyeballs. But at this point, Miami is as much a brand as Notre Dame is. That may be blasphemous for some people to hear, but that's just the way I feel about it. And so don't really have a problem with the top 4 seeds. I guess Alabama certainly does not need BYU to beat Texas Tech. I think that we have a good feeling that we're in or lose as long as we don't get blown out by Georgia. But I would be much more comfortable come Sunday morning if Texas Tech beats BYU. Alabama is ranked 9th and 102 in states. Yeah, that's probably accurate, but no offense, Andy, or anyone who's a Mississippi State fan, we're probably 102nd and Mississippi's 103rd. So, but yeah, Andy, hotty toddy, man, congratulations on a great season there at Ole Miss. I really hate the way things have went. That's bogus, and I hate it. and I did not enjoy it, to be completely honest, as a former football coach. But hey, you're in. You're going to get after it. I think Ole Miss has got a great chance to at least win in the opening round, and that's even if it's Alabama going to Oxford. I think you got a great opportunity. Your players are sticking around. That's a really awesome thing. So, yeah, I'm thinking, Oregon, I guess Ohio State, Indiana, it's not going to really matter. Both of those teams will be a one-loss team. And, I think the committee has pretty much shown they're going to punish someone for playing in the conference championship game. And of course, we all know, Andy Duncan, that money drives the train on this thing. So they don't want to get those conference championships. They better not punish people who play in them, or otherwise it'll be the end of conference championships in the SEC and the Big Ten. But nonetheless, I guess in a lot of ways it's lined up to work out for Alabama. We've got a win over Georgia earlier in the season in Athens. And so if they beat us in Atlanta, it kind of offsets those things. But you've proven that you can beat them. Although I would have probably preferred to have played someone else in Atlanta, just to be honest, because I'm kind of tired of seeing, and just like the world probably is tired of seeing Alabama and Georgia play in this thing. But it is where we're at. It's exciting. I remember thinking, people were telling me, oh, when we have 12, nobody will argue about who should be number 12. But here we are, including a group of 5 team, which that just irks me. And we could possibly have 2 group of 5 teams. And, if a group of 5 team plays their conference and then everybody else they play is a Power 5 team and they go 11-1 or 10-2, they got beat by. And I'm going to have an issue with that. And of course, Ohio State, the number 1. I'll be honest with you. I don't know who really is good this year. Ohio State is obviously stacked with dudes, but they kind of bookended their schedule, right? They got a Texas team that obviously had not figured things out. Ohio State hadn't figured things out in week 1. And once again, it's survive and advance. I'm not saying Ohio State's not good. I'm pretty sure they're really good. I just haven't really seen it. I mean, they flexed their muscle a little bit against Michigan, but that game was over as soon as Ohio State hit double digits. I think that game was pretty much done. Indiana, you beat who you show up and play. I think Indiana's better than they were last year. They're certainly a more solid football team. They were pretty good. And of course, as we all know, quarterback is the way this thing goes these days. You got number 3, the Georgia Bulldogs. Number 4, you've got Texas Tech. Already talked about how we need them to go ahead and beat BYU and prove that they're the better team. We don't need 2 Big 12 teams in if you're Alabama for sure. And certainly Notre Dame is sitting there as well. Then you have Oregon at number 5. Man, it's crazy to me to think that you could have 3 Big 10 teams in the top 4. I don't know how they'll logic that out, but that would be difficult for me to gather in how that's going to work. And so these other teams, you got Ole Miss in there. Congratulations to them. Texas A&M, that kind of went about how I went. I was kind of worried for them that the moment they played one of the upper echelon SEC teams, I'm not saying they're not talented enough to play with those teams. It's just getting punched in the mouth. Like, have you been on the road and took the shots? Probably should have gotten beat by South Carolina, but you could say that about Alabama. We probably should have got beat too. And so Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and then of course you get Oklahoma. Silas, I think Indiana could come out and punch him in the mouth. I really do think that Indiana is an improved football team. I think that they will win in the first round. They certainly have the ability to do that. And it'll be interesting. I'm interested in the Big Ten championship more so than I've been in years, because I think I'd love to see Indiana, see what they got. I love Signetti, even though he talks trash on the SEC a lot. But yeah, Ohio State better come ready. I'll say this: they better come ready for anything, because Indiana's kind of playing with house money. Nobody expects him to be there. And Signetti will embarrass you, honestly, if given the opportunity. So I'm excited about conference championship weekend, especially had you told me week one after Alabama got beat by Florida State, who has done no favors to our schedule, that we would reel off the wins that we have. But it's exciting. I think we can all kind of, logically have a hard time jumping through the hoops that the college football playoffs have created. I would, if I was king of college football for a day, or king of college football for however long it took, I would go back to the BCS system of coming up with the top 12 teams. I'd get rid of the group of five, and just let the computers decide the top 12 teams, or however the BCS. I know there was computer, there was a human component. I'm fine with that. But the whole BCS system as a whole, picking the top 12 teams to get in, I'm not for throwing a bone to the group of four. I'm not saying they should be excluded because they're the group of four, but what I'm saying is if they earn it, and if the computers, put all the metrics in, let the computer spit it out, all the different stats that went into the BCS system, get your 12 best teams and rock and roll from there. But as it is, this is what we've got. Got some big conference games. The Big Ten, like I said, championship is very interesting. Obviously, I will be highly interested in the Southeastern Conference championship game, and actually the Big 12. I mean, this may be the most interesting cycle of conference championship games that we've seen in a while, because the Big 12, it's a rematch. If you're an SEC school, you're trying to get in, you want Texas Tech to go ahead and beat BYU again. The ACC has a 7-5 team. That's nuts in this championship game. And you want to talk about chaos. If you want chaos, cheer for Duke in the ACC championship game against Virginia, which is wild. Silas says, if Indiana wrecks Ohio State, I'm go crazy. Honestly, I've already made a bet with a friend of mine that if Ohio State loses this, or if Indiana loses, the loser has to drink ghost pepper sauce. Man, Silas, you need to let us know how that goes. Okay. That's the very reason I don't make bets like that. When I lived in Tennessee, they always, if the Vols win, you have to wear Tennessee orange. And I'm just not willing to make that bet. I'm not willing to go there. So, hey, good on you, Silas. Hopefully, for your sake, Indiana beats Ohio State. Video certainly to see how that plays out. But hey, that's all I've got. The golden dislike probably is going to go out to Lane Kiffin and that whole debacle this week. And I guess it's really the NCAA. This schedule set up the way it is ridiculous. That transfer portal opens when it does. Signing day is what it is. And it's just like all this here immediately. And surely there's some way we can get this thing cleaned up. But anyways, looking forward to it. Hope you enjoy the championship games. Hope you've enjoyed the good old-fashioned podcast this year. We will be coming back with a few of those to end the season. We'll have our bowl review coming up soon as well. Thanks for joining in. Thank you for your comments. God bless you and have a wonderful night, and we'll see you soon.